Good morning, my spiritual siblings. On this spring, winter, maybe we have a new season, we call it sprinter. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. And thank you to Renee and Adrian for hosting us last night. We really appreciate that. So my talk today is called Intention plus Wisdom equals Good Action. Intention means I have a design for living, a determination to act in a certain way. Wisdom turns my compassionate heart to that design. And then I implement that wise intention, good action. Intention is what I focus on. Intention sends a message to universal spirit of who you are, who you want to be. Wisdom speaks to what you want to contribute. Wisdom is associated with attributes such as unbiased judgment, compassion, and experiential self-knowledge. Good action is how we choose to contribute. Good action is both appropriate and proper to the situation. And good action is beneficial to all involved. When wisdom is lacking, good action can be flawed. Trying to do good without having wisdom is like intending to perform brain surgery without any medical training. Not a good idea. So if you want to perform brain surgery, good action for the patient and for you is to complete medical school. And to accomplish the equation, intention plus wisdom equals good action, a very effective practice is affirmative prayer. Affirmative prayer places us squarely in the midst of intention. Affirmative prayer frames my intention with in the present tense with a positive tone. Ernest Holmes called affirmative prayer a spiritual mind treatment. His idea is that treatment is a conscious movement of thought. It aligns activity of your mind with the thought of producing results. The purpose is to create that which we want to appear. It removes obstruction and convinces our mind that it is already accomplished. Intention plus wisdom equals good action. Affirmative prayer makes our intention clear, and it makes it ours. Sometimes my prayer isn't even words. It's in my heart, just silently, gratefully, feeling universal spirit's presence. Of course, the tone of spoken prayers can convey heartfelt sentiment as well. But there's a difference between simply reciting prayers and embracing the feeling behind the words. So after intention and wisdom are said in prayer, good action of release follows. And mindfulness. I need to act my intention mindfully. In other words, I can't just turn something over to Great Spirit and then act in the opposition to my intention. I need to cooperate with Universal Spirit in sustainable, supportive ways. Now, one way I've done this, and still do, is to make theme weeks or months. Take an intention, let's say patience, and then aim my behavior toward that theme. With determination of my intention, I have chosen cultivate patience by standing on the longest line at the supermarket. Oh, and this is so uncomfortable. All the negative stuff comes up. The judgment of who's buying what, the privilege of all this thinking, right? I only have a few things here. I really shouldn't have to be on the back of the line. I should be at the front of the line. That, I'm in a rush. I'm busy. I have better things to be doing than standing on this line. And of course, I don't really need to do this. I'm beyond this. Or another way of saying that is spiritual superiority. Yeah, the practice brought into light all that needs to be burned off and surrendered gratefully. The author of Intention Experiment, Lynn McTaggart, says that intention is the secret sauce of the universe. I maintain that wisdom is the secret ingredient of that sauce. Wisdom is the secret ingredient of intention. Wisdom guides our action as we implement our intention for the highest good of all. Otherwise, intention can be clouded with moral assessments. Wisdom is appreciating and using our experience and learnings to vet our decisions, for them to be sound. Wisdom is acquired through noticing and contemplation, and often with age. Wisdom is a sign of consciousness, and intention infused with wisdom yields good action, a consciously lived life. Wisdom objective of action is what is best for all, and that can take some deeper discernment and ego deflation. Sometimes intentions are merely moral assessments centering around my thoughts and my feelings, and less significant to what is actually happening around me, that are concerning other people. Oh, I meant well, or I think something is right to do, and no moral discernment is required. And if I use intention without conscious effort to vet or examine my choice, then I run the risk of my intention slipping into harmful actions. Without rigorous internal and external debate, it can be short-sighted. And it can be my moral code, a code that serves only me, with no thought of any other potential outcome. An unexamined choice can have unintended outcomes that harm others. Why? Because wisdom was missing. We can't just say something is good, it must actually be good. Now here's an example. Now there seems to be a lot of coyotes in urban centers. And the coyotes have adapted from living in expansive green space to limited green space to cities. And they survive and they thrive in these areas. And some people are now feeding the coyotes. And no doubt that these people have really good intentions to feed the disenfranchised animals. But it creates another problem. Once the coyotes are no longer afraid of humans, the coyotes become emboldened and then aggressive toward humans. And there are reports now that there are more frequent coyote attacks on humans. So what's missing? What's missing in the intention? Wisdom. Wisdom to see beyond what the initial problem was and how it might unfold. A while back, I saw a homeless man in the subway. And he looked really downtrodden and hungry, so I offered him my ham sandwich. He didn't want to take it. And I really wanted him to take my meager offering. My intention was to feed the hungry man, sacrificing my lunch for him. But as he looked up at me, he said, "I'm not hungry. I'm sad and I'm lonely." So my intention was meant for good, but I fell far short from what was real for him. He wasn't even hungry. Of course, I was in a rush, so I left him alone and sad. I did not do good. It was not my best moment. And there was that small voice inside that said to me, "Talk to him." But did I? No. I abandoned him, and I abandoned my intention of helping by not being wise enough to ask him what he wanted. His response had not met with what I thought would help him. I was not present to him or myself. He was spiritually hungry. And now I live with the missed moral opportunity to give something to someone that was really needed. For him, for what was really needed for him. To be heard, to be seen, to be recognized as a reflection of God. This experience reminds me of my community organizing studies of Saul Alinsky, who was a premier organizer in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And he'd done a lot of good work helping those without agency. Here's a simplified version of his work. The man would go into poor communities, communities of color, assess what was needed to happen to cure the condition that they were suffering from, and how they needed to go about it. Now, it's been said that you don't have to tell a peasant when he has a pebble in his shoe. He knows better than any other person what needs to happen and what help he needs. Now, Alinsky did some really good work, but ultimately he came to realize by 1970 that, quote, all white organizers should get out of black ghettos. Wisdom of his intention showed that those less fortunate need not have a person of white privilege tell them what they needed. A wiser paradigm of community organizing then emerged, and it became one of asking the community what it needs, not telling them. My action needs to be thoughtful enough, wise enough, and present enough for the intention to be clearly lived and that it lands, rather than, oh, this person needs this or that. Better, I'll ask what this person might need. Now, returning to the premise of this talk, intention plus wisdom equals good action. Most of what I do is meant as a reflection of God, generous, abundant, loving. That's how I want to live. And certainly achieving that goal can also be painful. Letting go of my old, outmoded, short-sighted ideas or my beliefs can be a hard lesson. Clinging to outmoded behaviors or beliefs can be a dreadful process. Yet, reaching something higher has stellar rewards. And this is beautifully illustrated in the Rumi poem, Grapes of My Body Can Only Become Wine. The grapes of my body can only become wine after the winemaker tramples me. I surrender my spirit like grapes to his trampling, so my inmost heart can be ablaze and dance with joy. I surrender my spirit like grapes to his trampling. Although the grapes go on weeping blood and sobbing, I cannot bear any more anguish, any more cruelty. And the trampler stuffs cotton in his ears. I am not working in ignorance. You can deny me if you want. You have every excuse. But it is I who am the master of this work. And when, through my passion, you reach perfection, you will never be done praising my name. Here Rumi tells of the crushing of grapes, the ego self that becomes refined through trampling. The grapes form the wine, the ego distilled. The self-centered is quashed into submission of self, capital S. A challenging experience as self is still deeply intertwined with ego. Universal Spirit fulfills me through the painful process of ego deflation. And when the grapes are no more, there is the wine, the outcome of the trampling. And I am grateful once I realized the freedom from ego that Universal Spirit has expressed through this trampling. And this process becomes less excruciating as I grow in wisdom through spiritual transformation. And it's always better on the other side. Another way to look at how we frame intention is by language. Saying, I don't want to be selfish, is very different than I am generous. Using the negative form detracts from advancing intention. For example, it's been shown that warnings and threats are not effective in changing behavior. In fact, people will do the behavior more when faced with negative outcomes. So what's proven effective for changing behavior is when the rewards are highlighted. The rewards are immediate and progress is monitored. The study done was about these patient health-related doctors and nurses washing their hands before and during a patient visit. So first they installed cameras to observe the hand washing. The percentage of hand washers remained the same and in some cases went down. Then they mounted signs that showed progress. The signs displayed who and how many times their hands were washed before and during patient visits. The percentage of hand washers went up. The positive reinforcement led to improved results. Positive reinforcement is more effective compared to threats at achieving goals. Wisdom supports positive language in self-talk and otherwise. Giving myself positive reinforcement through self-reflection and affirmative prayer manifests my spiritual intentions. When modalities aid people in seeing the positive outcome, they respond by doing it more. The positive intention, wisdom, action of the signage spoke to the doctors and the nurses' intention of getting more people to enhance public safety through hand washing. I have no doubt that intention plus wisdom works. Think about the positive outcome of healing intention of prayer. I have seen firsthand the value and results of prayer intentions. I've seen it as a shamanic practitioner, through my Reiki practice, through sound and crystal healing, and through chakra therapy. It works. Of course, there are those who say, oh, intention, it's a placebo effect. Well, what's wrong with that? It actually proves the point of intention. So when I hold a belief to be true, it starts me on the path of manifestation. And so I close my talk with these thoughts and these questions. Healing our lives through intention. Intention aligns with our creative process, the universal spirit that organizes our thinking and reflects our feeling state and outcome. When we intentionally accept that which already is, affirmatively, wisely, mentally, demonstration follows. Intentions make you an active participant in your life. So get your intention on. Carpe diem. Choose the path of highest rewards, despite whatever resistance there may be. You have all that you need to manifest your dreams right now, right here. It's been said that the quality of your passage depends upon your attitude and the clarity of your intention. So I ask you, are you crystal clear with your intentions? Do you use wisdom-wrapped positive intention to realize your good actions? How do you enhance and amplify your positive ways in the world? What intention, laced with wisdom, would make your spiritual life more meaningful, more purposeful, more joyful? Do you have a design for living? And what determined good actions support that design? Are your words and actions in alignment? Do you live in gratitude? And how you choose to illuminate this world is how you are to be remembered. And remember that intention plus wisdom equals good action. Engage affirmative prayer. Be of good service to others. Illuminate the world with your light of wisdom intention. The universe awaits your wise intention and your good actions. And so it is.